Have you ever tuned in to Antiques Roadshow, whether the BBC original or the PBS version, and found yourself utterly captivated? It's not just about the jaw-dropping valuations, is it? Sometimes it's the sheer oddity, the bizarre history, or even the downright ick factor of the items that truly grab your attention. Because, let's be real, while we all love a gleaming porcelain vase or a rare painting, there's a secret thrill in seeing something truly unexpected, even if it's a little gross. We're used to seeing elegant heirlooms and precious artifacts on Antiques Roadshow, but what about the items that have languished in attics and basements, gathering decades or even centuries of grime? Or those with backstories so dark they send shivers down your spine? These are the moments that make us gasp, recoil, and yet somehow stay glued to our screens. Because even the most unappetizing objects can hide incredible stories and, occasionally, astonishing value. So, buckle up, because we're about to dive into some of the most unconventional items ever appraised on Antiques Roadshow. You might want to grab a snack, or maybe not, depending on what we uncover. Imagine walking into Antiques Roadshow at Eichdam Moat in Kent, England, with a box of junk you bought at a car boot sale. Now, imagine pulling out a full set of 18th century dentures. That's exactly what happened during a particularly memorable BBC episode, leaving expert John Foster utterly stunned. John, a seasoned appraiser with over a decade of roadshow experience, couldn't contain his excitement. He gushed, "I've been doing the roadshow for over 10 years now, and this is the one thing I've always wanted to see, despite the obvious ick factor." These weren't just any old teeth. They were gold-plated, spring-bound, false teeth. As he meticulously examined them, he playfully quipped to the owner, "I know you're going to think I'm weird, but why have you got them?" The answer was delightfully simple. They were at the bottom of a box of odds and ends his dad had picked up for a few pounds. Talk about a treasure hunt. John's initial estimate on their age, between 1845 and 1855, was incredibly close to the actual period of 1850 to 1860, but it was their construction that truly captivated him. He exclaimed, "The fact that they're porcelain, I love. They are incredibly rare. The fact that they're gold, the fact that they're porcelain, I'd say they'd sell for 2,000 to 2,500 pounds. Who knew a set of old false teeth could fetch such a price?" It just goes to show, sometimes the most unexpected finds are the most valuable. Picture this. You've inherited some old war medals. They're a bit grimy, maybe even a lot grimy. You're not quite sure what to do with them, so you bring them to Antiques Roadshow, hoping for some guidance on restoration. That's precisely what two guests did on the BBC version, presenting expert Mark Smith with two cases of early 19th century war medals in what they openly admitted was in horrible condition. The true identities of the original recipients were lost to time, likely inherited from a father and son, but their poor state obscured any distinguishing marks. Mark, ever the professional, started with a direct yet understandable question. "I've got to ask, first of all, what have you done to them?" The guests, candidly, confessed, "Well, we obviously haven't looked after them very well." And they weren't wrong. One medal was even displayed upside down, and all were so encrusted with dirt that Mark couldn't even read the inscriptions around the rims. He began to meticulously identify them, one from 1808, others linked to the Syrian conflict in 1840. What's truly wild is the guests' casual attitude, even describing the men who earned these significant honors as pretty ugly. But Mark's excitement started to build when he noticed something extraordinary: 5 clasps on a Syrian medal. 3 clasps? Almost unheard of. 4? No. 5? Wow! You have 5? Wow! He enthused, his voice brimming with passion. Then came the unforgettable moment. Mark, looking directly at the guests, delivered a line that has become Antiques Roadshow legend. "You have kept these medals in the most appalling condition that I have ever seen in any medals ever, and you need to give them to me so I can love them." It was a plea, a good-natured scolding, and a testament to the historical significance of these neglected pieces. And then the bombshell. Despite their horrific state, despite the neglect, the valuation was staggering. I sat down and thought about this, that you have kept these metals in this awful condition and they're worth £100,000. Yes, you read that right. A six-figure sum from metals described as being in the most appalling condition. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes intrinsic historical value transcends even the most egregious neglect. Now, from the battlefield to the bedroom, let's talk about something truly personal. When BBC Antiques Roadshow host Fiona Bruce unveiled a pair of Queen Victoria's knickers, the audience and, undoubtedly, viewers at home, erupted in a mix of amusement and astonishment. And honestly, who can blame them? Fiona, with a mischievous grin, remarked, "We see an awful lot of Queen Victoria's knickers on the Antiques Roadshow. I'm not quite sure why so many people have so much of her underwear, other than to say she obviously had quite a bit of it." She then went on to highlight their impressive size, a testament to the Queen's later years. But look, she was obviously a lady of some considerable girth towards the end of her reign, so they're pretty sizable. To really drive the point home, the 61-year-old presenter draped the massive royal lingerie around her own waist, drawing the strings to emphasize just how much larger they were compared to her figure. It was a hilarious and insightful moment, bringing a very human touch to a historical figure. Fiona then delved into the historical context, explaining the evolution of underwear. She kindly explained that if you think about Jane Austen's time and before then, there wasn't a lot going on under the dresses. But towards the end of Queen Victoria's reign, wearing knickers was a lot more common. And then the grand reveal of their most unique design element. She then clarified, and you may have noticed the obvious design element of them. They are, well, they're crotchless. I think that's probably the best way to put them, she said, barely suppressing a laugh. She then clarified, and that was for hygiene reasons and also for ease, under that crinoline and all those undergarments. So there you have it, a peek into the intimate world of royalty, proving that history is full of surprises, even down to Queen Victoria's rather practical, if surprising, undergarments. Some items are disgusting because of the awful stories they carry. This was powerfully evident when expert Ronnie Archer Morgan was presented with an amazing ivory bracelet on Antiques Roadshow, which he flat out refused to value due to its callous history. Ronnie wasted no time in making his stance unequivocally clear from the outset. "I want to make it absolutely clear that myself and we in the Antiques Roadshow wholly and unequivocally disapprove of the trade in ivory." The guest, who had purchased the item for just $3 at a house sale, was unaware of its dark past. But Ronnie, with a heavy heart, quickly delved into the disturbing truth behind the beautiful yet brutal bangle. He explained with a voice filled with emotion, "But this ivory bangle here is not about trading in ivory. It's about trading in human life. It's probably one of the most difficult things that I have ever had to talk about, but talk about it we must." Despite calling the bracelet amazing in its craftsmanship, Ronnie unveiled its terrifying links to the slave trade of the 17th and 18th centuries. This wasn't merely an artifact. It was a chilling relic of unimaginable human suffering. His anger and sorrow were palpable as he condemned the original owner of the bracelet, stating, "I'd like to meet him and tell him how honest I think he is." When it came to placing a monetary value on the item, Ronnie made a profound statement that transcended the typical Antiques Roadshow appraisal. "I just don't want to value it. I do not want to put a price on something that signifies such an awful business, but the value is in the lessons that this can tell people. The value is in researching this and what we can find out. And I just love you for bringing it in, and thank you so much for making me so sad." This moment was a powerful reminder that not everything can be quantified by money. Some objects hold a value far greater, a value in their ability to teach us about the darkest chapters of human history and to serve as a stark reminder against repeating them. From the emotionally devastating to the physically brutal, Ronnie Archer Morgan once again found himself appraising a truly unsettling yet historically significant item on the BBC Antiques Roadshow. an amazing ivory bracelet designed for caving in skulls. Upon seeing the imposing club, Ronnie, with a touch of his characteristic dry wit, asked the owner, "What's a feminine person like you doing with a big, heavy, aggressive thing like this?" The woman explained it belonged to her father, inherited from his own dad, who had received it from elderly spinster ladies in Scarborough, a surprising lineage for such a formidable object. Ronnie's enthusiasm even for such a weapon was evident. "Amazing! I can't actually believe what I'm looking at. This is absolutely superb. It's a Fijian buli, and this is a thing of rare beauty. It is really what us collectors look for. This is the best I've ever seen." His appreciation wasn't for its destructive capabilities, but for its rare craftsmanship in historical context. Then he, with a professional detachment, explained